everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon. Oh, my camera is playing a little trick. How is everybody? My goodness, I've been busy. I plan to try and not be so busy the next couple days. Have some relaxing time. And we're going to start with that today, right now, by just chilling out a little bit. And I wish I meant that literally because it's hot. It's just plain hot. The weather has been that take it all out of you heat the last couple days, and we were out in it yesterday for a period of time. Went to State Fair last time. I'm going to go tomorrow and pick my stuff up with its ribbons, and Tuesday morning I will of course show it off. So you have that to look forward to, and maybe I'll read the judges' comments, but I don't really expect that I will. I don't a lot of times. Other than that, not much happening as far as spinning this weekend. Been busy doing things with my grandson and hubby, and we spent a little bit of time on the porch, a little bit of time outside last night, doing, of all things, some home fireworks. Not homemade, of course, just those that you can set off. And my grandson particularly likes bottle rockets. Those were his favorite, and he got to play with those. So, it just, yeah, it's all about family. It was all about family right now. So let's see here. What I'm going to do today is a little bit of plying first. I have this white Shetland that I spun 2 bobbins, and I'm going to ply that up. There isn't much there, so that won't take too long. And then I am going to start spinning the Corriedale. Okay, but I'm going to have to divide it up, right? I got to weigh it and divide it up first, so I have equal amounts on bobbins, supposedly. So I'll be doing that, dividing that up. And I just been spinning this merino. It's a pink. It was not processed by me or dyed by me. I bought it. And hi, knitter. I got a wonderful amount out of 4 yards. I got 250 yards of a 2-yard. I mean, it's 2-yard skeins, and I got 250 yards. So I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I don't always spin merino very well. I mean, it doesn't cooperate for me very well. And this was extremely cooperative. I've got ends hanging here because it didn't come out even on the nitty naughty to tie. But yeah, I'm really very subtle pink color changes in there and self-plied. So I love it. I'm real happy with this. So that's what I've been working on, and it's all done. It's ready for a bath. And we'll do that pink Corriedale in a little bit. Let's go to the spinning wheel. And I didn't know I could move that with my cursor. I'm moving the picture frame with the cursor. I did not realize that. That's very interesting. All right, learn something new every day. I've been spinning on the Roberta, okay. I know I need to get spinning on the Ara, and I will, I promise, after I get this Corriedale spun. But the the large bobbins on the Ara, I am spinning on the Ara. I'm just not doing it on stream. I have it in the living room, and I am working on an unknown wool. It's a gray color, and get it going here. There we go. I have been spinning that on the Ara, but not on stream. Okay. Welcome, knitter. Glad to see you. Hope you're having a good weekend. Got a wrinkle there. Come on. Nope. Not. There it did. Okay. For some reason, everything I'm spinning right now is spinning really nice and thin. I have no explanation, except that this is comb top, and that is way easier to get a thinner single. So I'm just going to say that's what it is. When I spin bats that I do on my drum carder, they just never spin this thin. I have a rattle in this. It will ease out after I get some of this across the bobbin. On Friday night, I sat here and watched a streamer. Her name is Mima. She was playing games, which is one thing that she does. She gives away games. I was trying to win a game. And I just really got hooked up in the stream. And so I sat here and applied all of that 200 yards, 250 yards of Cordell. I'm sorry, Merino, that I just showed you while I was watching that stream. It was nice because playing is kind of boring, and it's helps me to be watching a movie or doing some, watching the streams like that to help while I'm doing it, or streaming like I'm doing right now. I know this rattle is bothering me. I also need to put my mic down. Sorry about that. Good grief. Positively Crafty, hello. Welcome. I'm still working out the kinks here. I forgot to put my little mic thing down in front of my mouth. It probably was working, but faintly. I'm getting this bobbin started for plying, and it's making a kind of rattling noise, but getting quieter as it gets fuller. So we're just getting a good start here. Hope you're having a good weekend. But the game she was playing she was playing the online, or, well, I won't say online. She's online. I don't know whether it was on her computer or if it's actually on Steam. It might be on Steam. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Yes, thank you. I am so good about not doing some things. Okay, you're going to, yes, count those beads. And thank you for stopping by. I was enjoying your stream the other day. So I appreciate that you have come by. I'm watching you work on your beaded box and talking about your trips to the mountains. I lived in California for a while, so that was a little bit of a trip down memory lane for me. I don't know if you're in California, but we would go to a day trip up on a mountain, which occasionally it got cold enough we had to wear a coat, even though we were just in California. You're in Northern California. I lived in a suburb of LA. I like to always joke that I lived in Burbank, but I actually lived in a suburb that was a suburb of Burbank. In other words, it was really tiny little bedroom, homes only kind of community called Sunland. But I lived in the LA area, and I liked it. I missed things about this, that I grew up with in Ohio, which is change of seasons and things like that. We managed to stay out of all the major big city stuff of LA, so it didn't feel like I was living in a big town, and it was very enjoyable until finally my husband got a different job and we had to come back. We came back east then. Yes, in Northern California, I have only visited once or twice. Um, that's expected, though. I can understand that being further north. There we go. Now we have a nice quiet bobbin. That's the way it should be. I am plying two singles of a Shetland wool that actually came from a black and white sheep. There was black, when I bought the fleece, there was black fleece and white fleece together in the same fleece. So I named it the Yin Yang fleece. And there was more black than white. I have already spun one nice hank of yarn from the black, but I have more to do of the black. And this was all there was of the white. So I expect it probably was mostly black with white splotches there, here and there. By the time I get the fleece, a lot of times it's jumbled enough that I can't really, I can lay it out, but you don't see the shape of the sheep anymore. Like, oh yeah, this was where the neck was, or this is where the tail was, and that sort of thing. But home processed. Um, it was in the grease when I bought it. I washed it. I picked it open and put it on combs and combed it out into this top. And do you, oh, okay, so 10 feet of snow is a lot. Hi, Kay. Welcome, welcome. I didn't know you raised sheep, Positively Crafty. Oh, I did not know that. You bred for spotted sheep, usually black, gray, brown, and white. And did you raise Shetland? They are always multicolored, so are Jacob. Or was it just, whatever gave you the variety of colors? 10 feet in a low snow year. Yeah. We don't get that kind of snow here in Kentucky. Very, very rarely. Just once in a while. And we're not too happy when we do. People don't like it. So were you raising the sheep and being a spinner, that sort of thing? I just didn't know you had a fiber history, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. We may have talked about it before, but sometimes I have limited memory. And then I'll quit asking questions so you can get your beading done. I know you wanted to lurk. I'm just so excited. So I'm waiting for my cat to come back. Unfortunately, he won't be here on stream because I have the door to the stream room closed. But my grandson visited for an overnight, and my cat he is a me and hubby only cat. I mean, he just doesn't like even my daughter, or he just doesn't make friends with anybody. My daughter comes out and checks on him when we travel and that sort of thing. Never sees him, right? Just knows that the glitter box is cleaned, and the glitter box, yeah, that's what it is. The litter box is cleaned and food is gone, and she gives him more, and evidently he's all okay. Now he also has a cat door, so he can go in and out because we live on 15 acres. So he has the run of the property too. And anyway, I haven't seen much of him since Saturday morning because my grandson was out here and he's hiding. So Positive Crafty, you had several crosses. You had a Rambouillet, a Merino Ram, some Corriedale, and some other crosses. And you had 25 sheep. You spun, wove, and knit. Well, okay, now I know something new. I really did not know that, and I am so happy to learn that. I have not raised sheep in all the years. I am a support the shepherd kind of person, right? I buy lots and lots of fleeces, but I have never raised sheep. Don't intend to. I raised Angora rabbits, is what I. Yes, you do. I remember you. I know you said they needed a job. That's right. But you okay? So you still have your dogs. It is a lot of work, especially. I know you get somebody to share them, but there's so much care to an animal, especially those the some are larger. I mean the feed is heavier, the feed is larger. That's why I liked the rabbits. I called it, an older woman um, herd, but there was still heavy work cleaning out the cages and shoveling the under the cage and that sort of thing. There was always a lot of heavy work to do. And it's true with the larger animals too, even on pasture. Ah, and you had Angora rabbits as well. Well, that's a dying venture. I hate to say it. People are just not raising them anymore, at least not in our area. Maybe so in California, especially the more temperate climates. You really can't have extremes, hot and cold, unless you've got a climate controlled barn environment. Because the rabbits, if you want them to be in coat, of course, they need not to get overheated. I did have to watch that. I always had to take their coat off, and that was hard because I showed the rabbits in the state fair, and the state fair is ending today. In other words, it was right in the middle of the heat. Right in the middle of the heat. I used ice bottles where I would take 20-ounce bottles of water and put them in the freezer. And so every day, twice a day, I was lugging out 12 ice bottles, right? Keep them cool. This was decades ago. Hardly anybody raised colored sheep, Angoras, or spun wool then. Yes, you were the you were part of that 1970s, 60s, 70s faction, and I will not. I call myself a hippie, but I'm not going to put that label on anybody else without them saying it themselves. But I called myself a back to lander mostly, and I raised milk goats and raised my daughter on goat's milk. Say it right. So that was 30 years ago. But that was the attitude, whole earth catalog attitude. Do it all yourself. And I tried. I didn't, but I learned so much. And I developed a love of so many things that have been a part of my life since then, like gardening, and drying herbs and cooking good foods from scratch and making the yarn became one of the primary focuses because I found out I like teaching it. And so I really focused on that over the last 20 years. And yeah, it all started with an acre and a half and 4 milk goats and chickens. That's when it started. I tried beehives. I found out I don't do well with beehives. But I did get my bees through Montgomery Ward catalog. I will never forget the day the post office called me and said, "You have a package and I think it's alive." a teeny tiny little town, right? It's like they weren't going to deliver it. Last couple months ago, this was all up in Ohio. A couple months ago, I went to Ohio. My brother still lives there. I went to that town. I went past the house, which still stands, that I lived in. The barn is still there. I mean, it hasn't changed at all. And it's well kept. In that sense, it hasn't changed because it's well kept. And that did my heart so much good. It really did. You grew up that way. Pioneer women at heart. Yeah. I did not. My mother, oops, I'm running out of yarn on this one. Single. My mother was like, I don't know where you get it. Well, I knew where I got it. I had a grandmother who lived out of the city, which was like country to me. I mean, major country. Had an outhouse, right? Raised rabbits and chickens. And I was a little girl, and I'd go there on Sunday afternoons because we always would visit her on Sunday afternoons. Where do you think I got it, Mom? I ran all over outside while you guys visited, and I was learning all about that uh, country or just nature, just being in nature. All right, almost done here. Take this last little bit, wrap it around my hand, and do a little bit of plying here. I do attach it to this same skein, but a lot of times when I actually knit with the skein, I pull it off, and I call it a swatching skein because it's usually about 6 yards or so when my bobbins don't come out even. And this first little bit's going to be real fuzzy. There we go. Country Women was a book. And oh man, I mean, I kept the name of that author on the tip of my tongue forever. That was my Bible. I don't know. I bet you any money you didn't need anything like that, but that was what we needed when we were. And I say we because it was my best friend and I who did the goats and the garden together and that sort of thing. She lived down the street from me, but we did all of this together. And it was very helpful because if one of us had to not be able to milk that night, the other one could fill in, right? So it was not only a mutual project. We had an amazing friendship develop out of that, and unfortunately, she has passed away. But that was a lifelong, very good friendship that developed out of that experience. Country Women. What is that? I'm not going to be able to say the lady's name. You had antique books from the 1800s. I'm at least I would say find something a little more updated so you don't work so hard. Oh my gosh, they worked so hard in those days. But that's kind of good if you're like trying to live off the grid too, without the electric and all that. I know as soon as I see this lady's name, I'll remember it. I have 2 copies of the book. Not the magazine, not the recipes, not a singer. I better put book. Maybe that'll bring it up. Maybe it's... There it is. Oh, that's what mine looks like right there. That's the one I wore out. Actually, it isn't. That's the one I bought. The one I wore out, she did by hand on a mimeograph. Ooh, that one looks good too. All right, this is the only one I got. She did it at home on a mimeograph. It is held together by posts, right? She punched the holes in the pages and put posts through it. But this is the exact same book, just actually printed. And I didn't look at the author. Let me see if that works. If it doesn't, I'll take... Oh, I'm sorry about that. Huge link, but it works for me anyway. That is not the name of the women I remember. What is going on here? What am I... Oh, there's Pioneer Woman. What am I remembering? I may have to go get it. Huh. Okay, that bugs me because those are not the names I remember at all. I wonder if they bought it. That really bothers me. Huh. Okay. I'll try not to let that bother me anymore. It was a good book. All right. I'm not going to skein that off. We'll just get to spinning. First I'm going to go ahead and divide this fiber up. Oops, sorry. This may not want to go up anymore. Yes, my t-shirt says retired. I worked my entire life for this t-shirt. I have found that I have a multitude of these kind of t-shirts that have witty sayings on the front of them, and that I am very tired of people trying to read my chest. So I have been designating them as stream t-shirts. There we go. Okay, I lost you in all the chat. How are you today? What you up to today? Calling you out. All right, now what I need to do here is, this is Corydell. Isn't that gorgeous? Of course, it was a fleece and I dyed it and then I combed it. And what I need to do is divide this up so I have as even amount on bobbins as I possibly can. It never comes out exactly, very rarely anyway. 0.21. You're doing good. Working on your Malabrigo spin. Hi, Faye. Okay. Well, thank you. And yes, thank you to Positively Crafty because, I met a kindred soul online, totally unknowing. I mean, totally unknowing that she had the same kind of background. Right now, she does beading on stream. And I can't do shout outs. I am so sorry. I need to fix that. And I haven't done that because I rarely have other streamers on. So I apologize, Positively Crafty. I will make myself yet another note to take care of that. I'm fine with all this part of it. I am terrible about that background, taking care of a stream and making things happen in the stream. All right, this is 0.14. Okay. You are a culprit. You don't make it way up even at all. So I'll save you as a sample of this because I don't think I have made a sample. There we go. That takes care of dividing it up. I love this pink color. It's such a bright, happy color. I sound like Bob Ross. Happy color. All right. I'm going to get a ballpark of how much total I have here, if I can. About 1.3 ounce on each bobbin. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a fair amount of yarn. Oh, okay. Looks like I have to do a shout out. I have to add Cloudbot as a mod in the channel. Huh. Okay. Okay. Have some good lunch. I had a good BLT today. Oh, it's BLT season. Yeah, this is more than I can do right now. So I'll have to muddle through that another time. There was a lot I felt like, I felt like I knew a lot more when I was first setting up the stream 3 years ago. And of course, now I've just left everything the way it's been for years and not many changes, so I've kind of forgotten. And of course, they may have changed too. All right, I don't need quite so fast. I don't know if any other spinner has noticed this, but I always spin a lot faster when I'm plying than I do when I'm spinning a single. Oh, this is, tell you what, I don't know why I spin anything but top. It is the most wonderful stuff to spin. It just takes so much work. Oh man, that lady's name on that Country Women book is on the tip of my brain. I mean, it's just sitting right there waiting for me to say it, and I cannot say it. Carla Emerson? Carla somebody. Wonder if she sold the book. All right, I got a few things that slip through the tines of the, like that. It's got a little knot of fiber in it. But on the whole, looking good. See, these are because the fiber that I dyed, that I used for this was from a fleece that I bought, right? And so it has all these cuts in it that the clippers did that isn't nice long staple of the lock of the fleece. They're called nips. And I try to keep them out of my yarn. I wanted to tell you, Kay, hopefully you're listening in, that after our discussion last stream about rugs and that pattern that you're working on, having a circular one, I spent time looking through Ravelry's patterns for rugs, and I putting a few in the favorites and stuff like that. Wasn't really sure what I was gonna do. I want a circular one for here. So, that's one thing. But I saw some that were a rectangle again that were really nice, what looked like natural colored. They weren't trying to play with colors. They were using natural color wool colors. Not black and white, but the browns and grays and tans, and I have so much of that, that is natural colored and not actually dyed. So I was saving some of those ideas too, because I like the look of it for somewhere else. I'm not sure where. But the thing that was happening was I kept running into some patterns that I really liked that was from Stackpole Publishing, and there was just nothing in Ravelry. You could not access the pattern anywhere in Ravelry. So I thought, well, I am going to. It was referencing a book, and it said book was no longer published, and I said, well, you know what? Just on a whim, I have the app from my local library, my county library, on my iPad, and I was laying in bed, not sleeping, and I thought, I'm just going to type that into the search box for the library. Do you know it brought that book up as an ebook? I still have it on my iPad. I borrowed it. I can get it for 21 days. I can renew it. So if I really want to do one of the patterns, I'm going to probably transcribe it by hand. Maybe copy paste. I'm not real sure how to do that. When I borrow an actual physical book from the library, I lay it on my scanner and save a pattern that way. But I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. But I was really tickled because they had that book. And there's a couple in there I really like. So I'm sort of at square one though, because I really want to finish some of the other stuff before I get a new project started, she said, and then probably ignored. Isn't that pretty? Oh man, it looks so purple on my camera, but it really is hot pink. It's hot pink. I love it. I am loving it. Even that looks washed out. All right, hydrate time. Yes, isn't the library app neat? It really is. You doubled your reading for a year. I have really been careful and not gotten big, books. I have physically 3, 4 bookshelves full of books I want to read that I have purchased like at half price or inexpensively or here and there. Um, and I am just making the vow of getting those read and moved on, you know, before I try to read anything digitally. But my exception to that, of course, is I no longer get my magazines hard copies. I get Spin-Off and Interweave Knits as a digital copy. So, I do look at those. I do have that on my currently on my iPad. I'm a little concerned about losing them. I believe I should be able to transfer that, sign in and get access to my library, that they're saving it for me. Um, since it's through Interweave. But that is part of my age, not trusting that, or be willing to lose something that's on the digital content. And I know better. Over the years, there's been so much that I have lost. Digital content is made to be ingested immediately and not saved, really. Libby. Oh, you okay? Fairwind wanted to know if we were using Libby. She loves that app. I have it, but I don't use it. I use uh, Your read pile at home, I have 6 books in mine. Um, but 2 of them are the Ken Follett of a big series, so they're thick books. Overdrive. I use Overdrive for my library. And I think it just has to do with which your library is associated with. Uh, because I had to put my library card into it in order to be able to borrow the books. So my library maybe is associated with both of them. I just, once I got one set up, didn't go to the other. I don't know if there's any advantage or not, one over the other. Hoopla. Oh no, wait, I use Hoopla. HG, you're right. What's Overdrive? Overdrive is something else. Hoopla was wrong? I thought, what is Hoopla? I use that too. I think that is a library app. Ah, I don't have my iPad with me. Isn't that terrible? My short-term memory is just terrible. I just have to say that, I'm glad that I'm not really truly senile and am functioning fine, but when it comes down to holding a conversation, I feel like an idiot because I can't remember things. So, Faye, you go ahead and use all of them. Well, that's a good point. Okay. Overdrive is the old version of Libby. Thank you, HG. And what? And you are using Hoopla because I really think Hoopla is what I'm using too. Because you're right. Overdrive doesn't. I think it's still there, but I don't ever open it, or it turned into Hoopla. I don't know. Well, here's what happened. I was hooked up with the nearby county library, which is a bigger library system because it's a bigger county, because of my work. If you worked in the county and you brought in your pay stub to show that you worked in the county, you were allowed to get a library card for the county. Well, I retired, so I could no longer have, once that library card expired, I had to go ahead and get the library card for my county. And in the process of doing that, I changed all the apps that I used, right? And just sort of set it up from start again. So that's why I'm kind of messed up. Now, Kindle, Canopy, I tried using. That was mostly for video, and I don't use it. I have it, but I didn't find it like, I get my video from Prime, and I'm not looking for teaching videos as much as I am entertainment videos. They had a little bit. But Kindle, I keep Amazon Prime, and so that's just totally separate. I hardly read anything on Kindle. I use it mostly for video watching, series, TV series, the video part of my Kindle. I don't read too much on the Kindle. I love books. There's just not enough time in a life to do justice to all the books that are out there that would add to your life. I'll tell you. Even the novels. Even the fluff. The knitting mystery novels, right? They make you smile. They make you feel a little bit a part of that knitting group. And watch the and more in the book, not so much the mystery, but the progress of what they're knitting, right? And the description of the yarns. And that's why I read knitting mysteries. Yeah, no, Kindle is not the public library. And Amazon Prime and Kindle are not the same thing. A Kindle, when I say Kindle, I'm talking about the actual physical reader, and I use Amazon Prime. But the Kindle books are what you purchase through Amazon, right? You go to Amazon and pay for them. A lot of times they're only 99 cents, but you can't borrow them. There used to be a time where I was on a list where you could get, they would run free. A lot of authors, when they first bring out books, if it's a series, they'll give the first one free. It was that kind of stuff. I picked up a lot of those while I was on that list. But I finally realized that it was just adding to my Kindle library and I wasn't reading them. So I stopped. Ooh la la, this is spinning so nice. Oh, I saw your comment, Faye. I'm only 32 and constantly forget stuff and mess up conversations. Thank you. I'm talking off the top of my head. You know, you talk off the cuff, that's what they say. Sometimes your brain and your mouth don't come up with the same thing at the same time. Eh, puts a kind of a stop on everything, right? Well, my grandson learned something about his grandmother this morning. Actually, he was here overnight, and of course here some of the morning. I said, he said, when am I going home? And I told him, we'll get you home around noon or so, because I stream at 3 o'clock. And he looked at me. He says, "Grandma, you stream?" I said, "I do." He had no idea, and that was his first words were, and I won't say my daughter's name, but does Mom know that? I said, yes, your mom knows that. But I'm telling you what, he would be bored to tears with this stream because what he watches is it's just about gaming mostly, not watching gaming itself, but YouTube tips and tricks and things to play the game better and how, to actually, he watches that and that's what he thinks of as streaming. So he would be bored. Unfortunately, I went to the fair 3 times this year, but I did not get to see the sheep. I wasn't able to go yesterday. We spent so much time on the rides and midways because that's what a 10-year-old wants to do, and that's what we did. And we got so hot, and we're calling it a day, by about 5 o'clock in the evening. So I didn't get to see the sheep this year at the fair. Now, I will say that the sheep that they have at the state fair is a meat breed. almost all the time. Um, the, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say they don't have a category for the fleece, um, but it's not their focus. It's not like it's a fiber fair and you can go to the fair, state fair, and buy a sheep fleece like you would if you went to a fiber fair. So that is one of the reasons I never really have made it a big deal. It's not how I'm going to get fiber. But it's fun to go see the sheep. I like seeing sheep. So, the fair is ending today, and I'm going to be picking my yarns up tomorrow. And Tuesday morning, we'll talk about the yarns and the ribbons and all of that. Ooh, big chunk, big chunk. It's interesting. I raised a girl, and this is, of course, a grandson. It's very different. But he is a good kid. He is a good 10-year-old, I'll tell you. Growing. Oh my goodness. Growing so fast. I just can't believe he's my height. I just can't believe how much he's grown. This pink looks very consistently the same shade, but when I look at the bobbin, I see real distinctive dark light, dark light. You can kind of see it on there, even though it's not the right color. It's real subtle, but when I apply it, I'm going to get that depth of color. Ah, Faye, That is usually a no. Every once in a while, I do. But I have had plans and then have to change it because the yarn didn't spin up the way I wanted. You know, before I spun it, I thought, oh yeah, this is what I'll do, and then had to change my mind. So often, my spinning projects have, you know, less than 100 yards, and that means modular, a lot of putting a lot of different yarns together. They can be all hand spun, but when I hold this yarn in my hand, I don't have an absolute vision in my head of a yarn that I've already spun that would go with it. There might be, but I'm not thinking of any right now. You know, I can't remember any. So the answer is usually nope. I don't usually have any plans. And what happens is I want to knit something like the scarf I knit when recently when I was spinning it. I just knew I wanted to give it as a gift. So, you know, once in a while that happens, but not very often. I think bottom line, I am just a true spinner. I am not going beyond this actual process right here. Yeah, it's a little hard because I feel like two things. You know, I feel like that it's gorgeous yarn. I should make something with it and enjoy it as that way, right? Instead of just enjoying it because I remember spinning it. The second thing is I can't um, find a way to sell it in the sense that if it's only 70 yards and I put it on there and somebody they just fall in love with the color or whatever and they have no clue that 70 yards will barely make them half a scarf, right? I don't think that's fair bending. So I would prefer to have yarns spun and put together as a group for a project, and that's hard to do. They're still going to be one of a kind because you know, I don't spin multiples of hardly anything. And I don't want to be a production person. I don't want to go and buy blank fiber and dye it and spin or even sell the fiber or spin it. I'm not into that production. Do it as a business, make money, that kind of thing. I'm not looking for that. Sometimes I just laugh and say it's my daughter's problem eventually, but you know, I am working slightly towards maybe vending in outside in a fiber fair 1 or 2 times with the eye of reducing that stash of yarn a lot because people could see it. They'd know exactly what it is. I could talk to them, you know. So I'm still got that in the back of my mind. That's a possibility. Twice a year would be once in the spring and once in the fall. Hubby's against it, but you know, because I know why he's against it. He's afraid I will get the bug and expand, and we're going more and be gone all the time, and we can't do that. We can't afford to do that. We have this property to take care of, so I know why he's against it. Oh, hey, Storm is here. Oh, we have sunshine and intense heat and no promise of rain for a while. Hope you are safe. And bye if you lose your electric. That's what happens to me in storms. Talk to you later. Stretch break. Anybody else thinking about Christmas shopping? Are you all going to shut me off if I say anything about that holiday? Oh, it just once I hit September, it starts bugging me. I want to be done and not have to be looking for stuff, and by the time Black Friday hits, I want it done. Not making any gifts this year. At least that I know of. I don't have plans anyway. And yes, I have given skeins of yarn to my daughter and uh, my friend who is a spinner. When we had a bigger knit group, I did give them skeins of yarn. I was comfortable with that because they were my buddies. Oh, okay. I hear about that. One of the best things you've heard is spinning the yarn is the finished product. One of the best things I've heard that with spinning the yarn is the finished product. Okay. And now, it's okay, but I'm not always 100% happy with the yarn. Lately, I've been getting some really nice yarn lately. But, I'm not always 100% happy with the yarn I get. And that is because it didn't spin up to really be like commercial knitting yarn. It's very more rustic and it's got a beauty of its own that I'm not 100% sure I want to make something out of. So it's like I said, it's more about this right here, doing this. And I have had yarns that I did not enjoy spinning. I was just like, no, I don't like this at all. That's why I rave when I hit something that is just so delightful to spin. Christmas shopping is fine. Christmas music is hard. Yeah, I know. I know. And it does come on. Right around October, it seems like. Hi, Crafty. Positively Crafty. Welcome back. I hope you had a good lunch. Faces. Yeah, on the Christmas music. Make it wait. Make it wait. And then a fair point, right? Maybe you don't like the yarn, so why do you want to make something out of it? Because you don't like the yarn. But that really is then, it's sitting in a Rubbermaid tub. You know, what am I going to do with it? At this point, I'm not going to take it apart and respin it. That is one good point. You can almost never really fix. Once in a while you can fix if it's underplied or overplied. If it's a single and it's underplied, you can fix that. Right, there's a little bit you can do. But you put your yarn together in a ply and you go ahead and wash that, and then you'd like, well, this isn't like I thought it was going to be. You're kind of stuck with it. But that, you'd be that way. Everybody has commercial yarn that they purchased thinking that it would work up good, and it didn't. So it happens with commercial yarn too. I have a lot of coned yarn, commercial yarn, that is in a Rubbermaid tub that I used to have a knitting machine, and I no longer have the knitting machine. And I did not get rid of the yarn when I got rid of the knitting machine. So, you know, some of it I know I can make a shawl out of, but it's really fine. It's very fine yarn in most cases because that's what knitting machines use. I need to fluff this. This one really got lumpy. And it also has nips in there. Let's get those out. It's not very nice. Must have pulled out as a blob. So Tuesday I don't spin, I do crafts, and I am trying to decide which I'm going to cross stitch on. I have been recently getting that lot of stuff that I got from an auction of cross stitch stuff, and it's all organized now, and I have 2 projects from that to finish. I went ahead and framed the ones that were done, and there were a number of, I guess you'd call them canvas, even though it's 8 o'clock, but there were a number of those that are partially started and not finished, and I do have the patterns. I have the thread. The embroidery thread was there. It was all together, so they just need finished up, and I have 2. Both moderate size, and I want to work on those, But Christmas is coming, like we were just talking about, and I have the perforated paper Christmas ornament. About a third done, and it would be nice to work on that. It would be nice to have all day just to work on this, and maybe even on stream, but my whole problem is Tuesday I have to see my ortho doctor, so that's not happening. All right, I need a little more pull in here. There we go. Maybe a little more speed. I just need winter. I do so much more crafting and stuff in the winter. It's coming. I don't want to wish it on us. It has been so wonderful to be in summer. Enjoying being outside, enjoying the front porch, just doing the summer stuff we do, and traveling and that sort of thing. So, summer's good. Carla Emery. There's that name. The name just came, finally came. Carla Emery. The Encyclopedia of Country Living. I had the wrong book, but you can, when I give you the link, you can see why. The covers look the same, practically. This is the book. This is the Right Country Women Country Living book. All right. Another big link, but that is the right one. And yeah, wow. But what I was saying was the one I had was post and holes put together, hand mimeographed from her house. I don't know if anybody has those for sale or not, but I forgot it was called the Encyclopedia of Country Living. Are you kidding me? It has a 50th anniversary edition. Oh my gosh. The original manual for living off the land and doing it yourself. Oh my gosh, they have a 50th anniversary. I have to look at that. There is none that has the post and the original mimeographed one like I have. A mimeographed one. That is such a treasure to me. There's her recipe book. Oh my gosh, they want $79 for that. Wow. Okay, there we go. I have a nice trip down memory lane with that. You can? Awesome. Awesome. So, that we were raising goats and chickens. That was my go-to book on how to make a fence, right? I was doing it. We made a milking stand. I mean, we were doing it all. And that book, I'll tell you, because this was pre-internet time, right? I couldn't go Google. My goat dried up. What do I do? How do I dry my goat up? How do I know my goat is in heat? How do I know my goat is pregnant? How do I, right? Yeah. Oh, there were computers just coming out. We had one of the first Apples. Uh, you know, it was starting, but it wasn't. And I can't even the book that is in such bad shape. I bought one of her more recent releases, and I uh, use that if I want to look one up. But the original mimeographed one I have in a box, right? It's stored in my treasures because it's just it's paper and it's decomposing. I mean, it's brittle, but it means so much to me because that is the only copy I had. That's the copy I used all those years. So thank you for going down memories lane with me. I have that. There are things that I know I should sell. Well, sell now because at a time of closing up a household, it often is done in a hurry, and the value of things just decrease so much when you have to do it quickly and get rid of it quickly. Um, and I have things like that. That book is one of those things. I just have such a hard time parting with it. But there's it just was important to me. There's probably nobody in my family that's important to pass it on to. You can do that with dishes. Here, this was your great grandmother's dish, right? You can do that with furniture, even. You can do that with other things. But a lot of times, a book on doing things in the country, you know, nobody in my family would really be interested in that. Which means I should find the home for it, but not ready yet. Wonder if there's a homesteading museum anywhere. I know there's I know there's some, you know, there's Shaker Village, and I mean, I know there's things like that. But this is a different concept. I'm not thinking about, well, am I thinking about a period that is really part of our US history? Maybe, like the Shakers were part of our history, is the hippie revolution was, but this I don't consider this quite the hippie thing, and it's still ongoing in many ways. There's current magazines out now, people who are uh, going back to land. It's one of them's called Country Journal. I got it for 2 years, not too long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when I first times I was still doing an awful lot with this place here. 50th anniversary. Oh my gosh, I feel old. Let's see, I moved to that property in 77. She probably, I wonder if she published it in, what's 50 years from now? I mean, minus now. 2022. '72. Okay. So she must have published it in 72, which, yeah, I didn't move there till I was just graduating from college. And I didn't get married until uh, 73. 74, 75. I think we moved up there 76. So, 4 years after she wrote it. Oh, man. That seems like so long ago, and so much has happened. That was Women's Libs Day, too. A lot about Women's Lib during that time. More in the 60s, but... Well, I hope the music's been enjoyable. I have not been able to hear it. I have it turned down pretty low. But at least every once in a while it kind of comes through. Sounds okay. Instead of cross stitching on Tuesday, I could work on my blanket I'm knitting that is just commercial yarn. I am on my last skein of yarn. I will be finishing it real soon now. Almost done with this bobbin. Excuse me.
I was checking out Twitch, see if there's anybody to stream if I give it up here in 15 minutes like I would normally do. There isn't. But I definitely need to stop after 2 hours here. Give my knees a stretch. Are you? Faye, that's great. You enjoying it? You got a Blueface Leicester Shetland fleece from Ravelry D-Stash, and it's so soft. So are you doing locks, like combing the locks with a dog comb and spinning the locks? Because you could have some nice locks with that breed. It's hit and miss. Some are, some aren't. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Some people find it frustrating, but I have always enjoyed having control over what happens to the fiber I buy raw. Unfortunately, that's where I have spent a fair amount of money on tools. The good tools have helped the processing, but I've only had to buy them once. I haven't had to buy and then it goes away or it breaks or whatever. I have my original drum carder from uh, hmm, less than 20 years, but maybe 15 years now. I can't remember exactly when I got it. You did that, did you? You recently got some D-Stash combs, so that was fun. It is, and that makes the top, even though it's a lock, it's spinning like top because it's all lined up. So it's so much fun to spin a lock and have it just kind of, everything goes away. You spin it all up. Sometimes you have a little bit left over, but I love long locks. Is it white or a nice... Oh, wait. Did you say a color here? No, you just said it was soft. Yes. My drum carder is starting to shed teeth on the edge of the... it's a card... I mean, it's a uh, backing that has the teeth all stuck into it that goes around that drum carder, and you can replace it. It's stapled in place, so you can replace it. But it has lasted that long, but it is starting to shed some of the teeth. So I am thinking that eventually I will have to actually replace the carding cloth. I also have replaced the drive belt, the belt, which is a heavy plastic tubing kind of thing, flexible tubing. There's no metal belting to it, and it's just one. It's one great big one. I've had to replace that twice. It's had maintenance. Hand cards will do the same thing. Their teeth will wear eventually. It's white and has the yellow tips, yeah. Well, that's fun. I am glad you enjoy it because, oh my goodness, I've done so much of that over the years. It is fun. Right, I have a big chunk and I have these two little chunks. I also got a thicker place here I'm not happy with. Let's see if I can thin that a little bit. Border luster is what I really cut my teeth with as far as learning to, buy it as a fleece and what to do with it. For some reason, the fiber fairs I went to were, mostly in the 3 states, mine and 2 around me, and the farmers were raising border luster. So, or a border luster cross. Yeah, you're getting squeaky. You need oil. I'm almost done, but it'll go for the next bobbin too. You did you wash it first, Faye, before you started working with it? I am not fond of working in the grease, so I always wash everything. Plus, I do end up storing fleece, and you really, if you're gonna store it, it should be washed before you store it, skirted and washed. Oh, you already bought it was already scoured. How nice. Okay. Well, that's good that was available for you. That's good. The absolute first skein of yarn, and I've told this on stream before, but the absolute first skein of yarn I ever spun, it was on an Ashford Traditional. I spun in the grease. I got the wool from a family member whose husband was raising sheep for meat. She just handed me a bag of wool, and I spun it just like I got it out of the bag. Right? I had no teacher. I had nothing. No internet, nothing. And I remember a kinky. I did know to apply it. I remember a kinky mess and sticky, dirty, and I never even washed it after I spun it. I didn't even know that I had to wash it after I spun it. I mean, I learned so much. There was so much wrong with that skein of yarn. I did eventually throw it away. But, yeah. Yeah, that's all right. Even instinct didn't tell me. I was like, I don't know what was wrong with my instinct. I should have thought, well, why can't I just throw this in some hot, soapy dishwater? For some reason, even that didn't appeal or come across to me to think to do. We live and learn. Yep. I love telling this story because anybody who spins can just see that skein of yarn, right? They they can just see it. Okay, I'm gonna call that a day. I have, of course, another half to spin, but that was wonderful. That was a wonderful spin. Good conversation. I have a wonderful community here. I would love to find somebody to raid. Yarn Crafter Corner, I see your name. I know you're lurking. I am not gonna waste this opportunity to raid somebody when I have so many viewers, because a lot of times I don't. So let me check it out here. I am going to turn the music off. Maybe. There it is. Anybody have a preference or whatever? Type it in chat. We've got Makers and Crafters are Sleeping Luna. There is a stitch pattern for a Nintendo Switch controller. Is what she's doing. Play in the Mud. Earthbending. Oh, earthbending. I love that word. I have not gone to play in the mud for a long time, so I think I'm going to probably go with her. All right. Because a lot of maker and crafters are playing games. Okay, let's go to sleep. Playing. It's play in the mud. Play in the mud. I'll get through the ad here. Play in the mud is, of course, an earthbender, which is a pottery person. I love that, earthbender.
There we go. Good as new. Just a slight wobble. Just a slight wobble.
Okay, there she is. And we are going to go check her out. She's on. In the meantime, thank you everybody for stopping by chatting today. I loved having the conversation today. It was really wonderful. Look at my hair. It was really wonderful. And I'll be back Tuesday morning around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So early for you California people. Everyone, take care. You're welcome for the good stream and
Is it a flower
chilling
pot?
out with
It is
me.
a
And
mug.
I'll catch you later. Bye.
A mug that will hold 20 ounces. That's what everything is today.